Guys, welcome to part 4 of our Wonders of the World project. So I want to walk you through what part 4 is going to look like here pretty quickly. This is the last section of our Wonders of the World project. It's a little bit more creative, but this is going to be the very last part that you do in social studies. You will still be working on it in engineering tech, and we hope to have you present here in the next couple of weeks. But this is the last project or the last part of the project that you have to do in social studies. So for this task, for this portion of the project, you're going to be creating both a website and a paper brochure that are going to convince people to travel back in time to visit your wonder in a certain year. So remember, I changed this a little bit. So we're going to be traveling back in time to visit your wonder. So we're living in a future where time travel is possible, and you're trying to convince people to go back into the past to visit the wonder of the world that your group chose. First thing you need to do, guys, is pick roles for your groups. So in groups of 4, 2 people are going to work on the website while 2 people work on the paper brochure. So that's going to leave the roles looking like this. So we have, first off, a web developer. So the web developer is going to work in Sway to build the website. And I'll show you what that looks like in a little bit. But basically, whoever likes using technology the most and is good at maybe like making PowerPoints and that kind of thing probably should be the web developer. Okay. Another person is going to be the web writer. So this person's job is to write and choose the arguments and facts of the website. This person, a lot of your work is already done, right? Because you have a bunch of research that your group has done. All of those questions that you answered and tasks that you completed in parts 1 through 3 really set the web writer up. So all you have to do is go in and find the arguments and facts that you want to use in the website. We are also going to have a brochure artist. So the brochure is going to be on paper. Okay, so this is going to be on paper. You're going to be using markers, crayons, colored pencils to make this. So whoever takes on this role, I hope you're a really good artist because you're going to be drawing some pictures. I also hope you have good handwriting because you're going to be handwriting the different sections of the brochure. No need to rush through this. You're going to have a couple days to do it, so don't feel like you have to do it all right away. But this is going to be a good job for someone who is really good at art. Also going to have a brochure writer. The brochure writer's job is basically the same as the web writer's job. You're going to choose the arguments and facts of the brochure. So again, a lot of that work is already done for you. Because the web writer and the brochure writer have very similar jobs, in groups of 3, you probably only need to have one writer. So you'll still have a web developer, you'll still have an artist, but you're only going to have the one writer. Okay, because one person will be able to choose the arguments and facts for both the brochure and the website if you need to. So you're going to work in your assigned roles to complete the website and to complete the brochure. So that's step 2 down here. And do know it's okay if the website and the brochure use the same arguments or very, very similar arguments. You can also use the same facts. You don't have to have completely different things. Really, I just wanted you to create 2 different versions of the brochure that you can use to help make your presentation. Okay. In any case, guys, you're going to use the resources, videos, and examples in Canvas to help figure out your design, both for the website and for the brochure. But you do want to make sure that you look at the requirements that are on this sheet, and on the paper copy, they're on the back of this sheet. Real quick, guys, there is a rubric for this, so take a look at that rubric. I would just read through that. Basically, you will get a P if you do everything that's required. To get an E, you need to go a little bit beyond that and add at least a couple additional unique sections. If you don't meet all the requirements, then you're going to be at an I or at a D. Okay, and this does assess standards 1, 3, and 5 in social studies. So real quick, here's the requirements for the website. You need to use Sway to build your website. You'll be able to find Sway in Canvas. I'll show you that in a second. You're going to include at least 5 different headings in Sway on different topics. Those are like titles. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. You'll need to include at least 4 arguments, each of 2 to 3 sentences. Okay, so again, at least 4 arguments of 2 to 3 sentences to convince people to visit your wonder for different reasons. Okay. And I would suggest you use the rules from part 2 to help come up with that, plus the work you did in part 3. You'll need at least 5 pictures related to your wonder. They don't have to be of your wonder, but they have to be related. There also needs to be at least one sway heading of interesting facts with at least 5 interesting facts in there. You have to include citations. And lastly, you have to include the year that we will visit your wonder in the title of your brochure of your website. Okay. The brochure, basically the same. Okay. Two differences here. The arguments and facts and headings are all the same, but you will need to put this on a blank piece of computer paper, and you're either going to fold that in half or fold that into thirds. And I'll show you some examples of that here in just a minute. The reason for that is that we want to make copies of your brochure that will be put out next to your models. So as people are looking at your models when they're on display, there will also be paper copies of the brochure for them to look at. And lastly, guys, just notice this step 8. You should complete at least one rough draft of the brochure with simpler art. So just draw some stick figures or just sketch it out. That way you kind of have everything mapped out and you know what you want before you do the work of really diving in on the art. Okay. So I would like to see at least one rough draft of the brochure before you complete your final version, and just check in with me and I will approve your rough draft. Okay. So that's the requirements. Let me show you a couple examples here. So I created just a little quick website with some examples for your travel brochures. This is available in Canvas. So if you go to Canvas, modules, click travel brochure examples, that will take you to this website here. And you can see these are pretty simple. They do look pretty. This person, whoever they were, did a lot of pictures. Theirs is folded into quarters. You can certainly do that so long as it's on a single computer sheet. This person did thirds, and you can see they did like a front back kind of thing. Lots of different sections, fun facts. Same thing here with one for China. And same thing here for one with Sparta. Now, these were not made for Wonders of the World. This is just some examples I found on the internet. So you don't want them to look exactly like this, but be creative with it. Just make sure you meet the requirements. Other than that, I don't care that much how they look, but you do need to have some pictures and facts on there. Your websites are going to look like this. So this is a website that I made about the statue of Zeus. So first off, I've got my first argument here, which is like the big kind of intro. I put in my first of the 4 to 5 arguments that you have to have. I put in my interesting facts here. So this is my fast facts about the statue of Zeus, and you can see those here. I put in just a little quote from the artist who made it. That's optional. I just did that because it looks cool, basically. And then I did some other sections. So when I talk about needing different headings, this is what I mean. So I've got one heading about history, and then I have an argument here about history. I have an argument about the construction. I put in a picture with that too of the artist's workshop. And then here's my argument about why you should visit it because of how cool the construction was. I have another one here, the art of the statue of Zeus. And you'll notice that these line up with the roles that we did in part 2. That's on purpose, okay? So I have an argument here about the art for the statue of Zeus. Oops. And then I have another final one here, which is other things to see in ancient Olympia in 400 BC. Notice that I included the year, right? So we're going to visit it in 400 BC. And I then made an argument about some other things that you could go visit in Olympia. Now, you can find this website on Canvas. So if you come back here, you can go to Sway Example, and you can open that up and you can take a look at everything that I did in my example, okay? Other than that, guys, I put a few things on here. There is a help website for Sway. There's a basics, like a Sway basics video that I would encourage you to watch if you are making the Sway. That will be really helpful to you. And then, of course, you still have all of your research resources if you need those. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up part 4, guys. You do have a copy of this sheet. You should have that by now. And you will use that then. Just make sure that you're meeting those requirements. And otherwise, guys, you are good to go. Have fun.